Master horse racing with daily racing forms Formulator, now free for DRF Bets members. Sign up to get the best bonus in racing with a $250 deposit match, plus a $10 free bet and free Formulator past performances. Go to drf.com/bet to play like a pro today.
Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer here at Pimlico getting set for the Preakness on Saturday, and one of the major undercard races is race number 7. It's the Grade 3 Gallorette. These are fillies and mares going 1 1/16 miles on the turf for $100,000. Remember to click or scan the QR code. Preakness Day PPs now available on DRF.com. Here's the field for the Gallorette. We've got 3 from Graham Motion, but you could argue the horse to beat is one of the Chad Brown trainees, the number 1 White Beam.
Yeah, it's not that often that you get a stakes race on the grass when Chad Brown is outnumbered, but he's outnumbered in this race. He's only got 2 to Graham's 3, but I do think he has the horse to beat in White Beam, who got a nice prep in New York last time.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector because White Beam was hurt by a slow pace last time out. Traffic Song, the number 3, is coming off a gate-to-wire win against weaker competition at Gulfstream, but I think she's going to get to the front. I like Princess Theorem's tactical speed as well, and she's much improved.
I like that as well. I find it hard to argue with this pace projector, though. It does sort of look like Traffic Song is going to be able to clear off early in this race. We'll see how far they let her get away and how slow they allow her to go. I think she's going to need some help to win this race, but I do think she'll be on the lead.
White Beam made her North American debut off the layoff last time out at Aqueduct in the Plenty of Grace. We're going to take a look at that race right now. Look at those fractions. 25 for the opening quarter, 49-3, and the leader just walked all the way around the track. White Beam is trying hard at the wire. That's just too much of a tactical advantage the leader had.
Yeah, exactly. Look at those early fractions, then look at the final fraction of this 1 mile race where they just sprinted home as White Beam is trying to make up ground at the end. She just couldn't do it. All in all, I thought it was a fine performance off the layoff. She came over into Chad Brown's barn this year with credentials overseas. She ran some really nice races over there. Wasn't always outpaced either. She showed a little bit of an ability to get into a position early in some of those races. Dan, the only poor effort, that last one, I think that's why she's here. She looks like a horse who wants firm ground. She didn't get it that day. She didn't run well.
The 2 is Sopron Basilia. That's one of the 3 Graham Motion trains. Graham's tried to get this horse in the entries, and either they've been washed off or there have been track cancellations. He's been stymied a bit. I talked to him yesterday. He said he's at least been able to give her a couple of more workouts. She seems fitter, but distance is really the key. Yeah. He thinks this one might want a little more ground.
And that's what her past performances say anyway. She's very consistent. I respect that, but most of her really good form is going in longer distance races, and they kept her mostly going longer overseas, Dan. She's off the layoff here. You don't worry about that with Motion. I just wonder if this is the right spot.
She was a Group 2 winner in Italy going 1.25 miles. Graham says she is sharp in her workouts, which might help her a little bit at this shorter distance, but you might want to wait and see until she stretches out. Here's Traffic Song's most recent victory, that allowance race at Gulfstream going 1 mile. Jorge Ruiz is a really underrated jockey, and he put Traffic Song right on the front, and they had enough to pull off the upset.
Yeah, I mean, she got the right trip in this race, and she manages to hold on. She's won a couple of turf races in that similar fashion, Dan. Opened a clear lead and then just held on at the end. She's the kind of horse, too. She's also blown a few stretch leads. I just feel like stepping up into this race, even off of a nice performance like that one, I think it's too tough.
Chad has the 4 Eminent Victor also in this race, and he was a little frustrated by her second half of 2022. She started things off like she might be a pretty strong member in the division and then tailed off. What Chad does like going into this race is she seems to run well fresh.
Yeah, that's a good thing for her. She did show some potential early on as well. She was a little disappointing towards the end of last year. All in all, I think this filly's okay. I can't say that I love her, Dan, but maybe she gets the right trip in this race and takes a little bit of a step forward. I don't think that's impossible.
We talk about Graham being great off layoffs. Here's Vergara making her first start as a 4-year-old, her first start since October. She ran just fine in this race to Sands Point, where she finished second to Skims. I liked her performance in the Dueling Grounds Oaks 2 starts back. But like Sopron Basilia, I think Graham likes her at a little bit longer distances, even though she has run well at this trip. And Graham said some of these others are sharper right now.
Yeah, you see that the second place finish there in her most recent start to Sands Point. I mean, she ran fine in that race, but she was only second best. That was Eminent Victor, who was just behind her at the finish. She ran okay in there, too. I didn't love that performance from either of them. I think your first point is well taken, though. She kind of gives off the impression of a filly who wants to go a little bit longer.
Bipartisanship, one of the 3 Graham Motion horses in the race, is one that has a race already this year. This is this 3rd level allowance at Keeneland last time out, where she got right up close to the pace. She battled it out. She got beat a neck. I like the fact that she can adapt to any kind of pace scenario. This distance is good for her, but does she class up?
Yeah, that's the real question. I'm not sure if she does, although I don't feel like this is the kind of race where you look at it, maybe aside from that Chad horse down on the rail. I don't think you would look at this and feel like, you know, it's the kind of field that she can't be competitive in. I like her as a horse. She is capable of a really strong performance. She already has the race off the layoff. If I had to take one of the 3 motions, I'd take this one.
Brendan Walsh has been doing very, very well recently, obviously, with the winner of the Kentucky Oaks, Pretty Mischievous. And he's gotten Princess Theorem, the number 7, good in her most recent starts. Graded Stakes placed 2 starts back. And then in this race, the Sand Springs most recently, she got beat a neck by a very sharp horse. I think that market segmentation is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was another step in the right direction for this mare. 2 starts back, she really outran her odds and made up a lot of ground behind a front-running winner. Boy, she's really headed the right way. This filly's okay, and she might fall into a trip here.
The distance works for her, and I think you're absolutely right. I think she's going to get a kind trip just off the lead, and she might get the jump on the true closers turning for home. Top pick time for the Gallorette, Mike. She was up against a slow pace last time, and she flew on home. If you give her anything to run at, I think White Beam's going to strut her stuff.
I agree. I think this is a great spot for her. I really liked her first appearance stateside here for Chad Brown. I think this is going to work out better for her. I'm not betting against her, Dan. I didn't like the motion horses enough to want to take a shot against this filly with, although if I had to use one, I'd use the 6.
Grade 3 Gallorette, race number 7 at Pimlico on Preakness Saturday. Best of luck.